Hi friends, I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video, but a lot of stuff has happened since 2 or 3 months ago or whenever it was until now. We haven't started building, so that's my excuse. I did say I was going to try to upload once a week, but that's when we do start building. The reason why I haven't been posting is because there hasn't been a whole bunch of physical progress being made where I can videotape or record what's been done. We've mostly kind of been working on the floor plan in the background and just ironing out certain details, making sure we have all the information possible, making sure we can start building right when we have our building application or building permit. Which reminds me, or which brings me to the next point. We did submit a building application, so we're waiting for our permit to start building. We submitted it about a month and a half ago, and they did tell us they were taking about 4 to 6 weeks. When we submitted it, it's been a little longer than that. But the last time I called them, they said there are 2 plans in front of ours, and then they're going to be examining our plan, which I'm kind of nervous and at the same time excited about. For those of you who don't know, who've never submitted one, a building application is just basically a packet of information with a whole bunch of different forms. Before this, I haven't ever submitted one. I've never actually even looked at the documents, so I'm no expert by any means, but I just wanted to quickly go over all the different forms that go into the building application, and just so you have an idea of the scope of a whole bunch of information you need to have about your lot, about your house, and whatever else. So the first thing and the most obvious thing is you need a floor plan for your house. This is what was taking us a while, working with our designer, just back and forth, making sure the house is what the house looks and kind of feels how we want it to. So this took quite a while. He's also building his house right now, so he doesn't have all that much time, but he was very gracious and he worked with us and helped us iron out a whole bunch of details. So I'm super grateful that we worked with this specific drafter. So you need your floor plan, like I said, but besides that, you also need a bunch of information about your house. You need a truss layout, you need beam specification and engineering, kind of general information. You need your I-joist specification. For us, since we're going to be using ICF in the basement, we needed the ICF engineering. What was it called? Oh, so we needed the ICF prescriptive engineering paper. We're going to use Fox blocks, and there's a form on their website that I submitted along with the building permit. You also need a site plan. A site plan is pretty much like a map of your property and where you're going to put your house, where your septic's going to be, where your power is coming from, where your driveway or approach is, any other features of your land. For instance, if you have a stream or a river, or if it's lakefront, you want to indicate all these things, streets, easements, whatever else might be useful information. So that was actually the first thing that was approved, because so if you've never submitted a building application, you actually submit one building application, but it needs to be approved by a whole bunch of departments. So the floor plan needs to be approved by the building department. The approach permit needs to be approved by Public Works. So the health district, in our case in Washington State, you need to submit an existing septic evaluation and a water availability form. For us, since our lot already had a septic system installed, that's what we had to submit, and that's the health district. Also for the building, for the building department for Washington State, we had to submit energy codes. It's like a worksheet where you choose your credits, how you want to make your house more efficient, essentially is what it is. And then there's the building application packet itself, where you list who's the owner of the property. You list certain specifications about your house, square footage, the highest point of the house, how many rooms it has, all that kind of information, just general information. And then for me as well, we do have power on our lot, but it's just in a corner. So I needed to submit a service connection agreement, I forgot what it was called exactly, to our public utility district, to our PUD. So that's, I don't know if you've been keeping track, that's about 10 different forms, and most of it you submit with this building packet, and then all these different departments, kind of disjoint entities, have to approve whatever you submit. So that's, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why it takes so long. It's not just one group of people reviewing your plan and your site and all of that, all of your plans. It's a whole bunch of other departments. Some of them take longer than others, but that's kind of besides the point. That's the general process. Also, so we haven't started digging. We didn't break ground. Like I said, we're waiting for our building permit. We think it's going to be approved probably here in the next week or so, fingers crossed, if everything goes well. I think we have everything done. I did call the building department. They said our plan is, there's 2 plans pretty much in front of ours that they need to review. So I think they're going to review ours this week, and we're hoping we don't have to change anything and we can just break ground here in the next week or 2. That's the plan. But one thing we learned is whatever you plan, it's going to take a lot longer than what you plan. It's going to take. We were trying to break ground and start building in August, and it's now almost October, and we're still waiting for paperwork, but it's just what it is. Besides that, I'm going to give you a preview of what our house is going to look like and the floor plan at the end of the video. But besides that, I've been kind of going to the property pretty much 3 or 4 times a week, feeling like an imposter, not really knowing what to work on. Like I want to start building, but there's not really much I can do at this point. We don't really want to break ground, since I think you're technically not supposed to start building before you have your permit. So I've been going there just working on random stuff, weed whacking, the driveway. I know our excavation guy is going to build up a driveway, so I just wanted to clear out some portion, as you'll see here. Also, I had a septic inspection that I was waiting on from the health department. I'll explain it more here. I'm finally out at the land again, and today I want to dig up and find exactly where my septic tank is, for a few reasons. First of all, I had a meeting today with the inspector. Actually, he just called me when I was working, and he was already out here. He was trying to find the septic tank by himself. So I live pretty nearby, so I told him, hey, give me 5 minutes and I'll be right there. So we talked over what I need to do. I need to dig up where my septic system is. As you can see here in this clip, it's under like 1.5 feet of dirt, and it's very dusty. It was put in over 20 years ago. So I need to dig it out. I need to find the lids, and then I need to put in basically plastic covers, and also put in like a piece of pipe over it. That way I can access the septic tank without having to dig every time. It's pretty standard. So before I can pass my existing septic evaluation and water availability is a different thing, but before I can pass my existing septic evaluation, I need to have those covers in. And also there's a thing called a baffle filter that might not be in my system since it is pretty old, but I'm also gonna look for that right now as well. So hopefully those 2 things I can get out of the way and then call the inspector back either tomorrow or early next week. So I'm gonna get back to digging, and hopefully I can get this done before the sun goes down. Can someone please explain this to me, how water's pouring here on this side, but if you look, it's coming out of this here hole. Oh, it's kind of dark here. It's coming out of a hole right here and filling up my septic tank area. So now I'm gonna have to chomp around in the mud. Water is pouring right here. It's coming out of a little hole here. It's now the next day. My septic is dry on top now. I'll show you what it looks like here. But I called the inspector back because I just wanted to make sure that I have to put the risers and the lids in before I get my building permit, which is what I'm waiting for right now. And they're the last part that I'm waiting on, and he said, well, I can actually give you kind of temporary clearance. I forgot what word he used, but basically he'll give us the okay to start building, and then before we do our final inspection, I have to send some photos to the health department, and they're going to double check that I have the risers in. So I'm not going to have to buy them right now, which I'm glad, because they're pretty expensive. It's probably going to be around $600 to put in the 2 risers and the 2 lids. And the sucky part is I don't really know where my final grade is going to be, so I can put in a 2-foot riser and then it's going to either be sticking out of the ground or too short, so I might have to put in a new one. So that makes it a lot easier. I don't have to put it in right now. But I'm still glad I dug up my septic. The top is solid. There's no cracks that I can find, which I'm glad, because it looks like there was heavy machinery driving around behind the camera, and also right behind me there's mounds of dirt everywhere. So I want to open up. I have this pick here, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I want to open up this lid. I want to open up this lid here. Oh, that is pretty heavy. I think I should be able to do. Just set it off to the side. It looks like there's a ton of water in there already. And I'm not sure, well, not a ton. Looks like there's water in there. I'm not sure if that's for me hosing down this whole area yesterday, or if it was in there already. Let's take a look. Let me make it. Oh, you still can't see. There's water in there. It looks like the piping looks like it's just been put in, which I'm glad. So here's what I'm looking at. The 2 lids I was talking about, and this open one. It looks like this tank is fine, which I'm happy about, because it's an extra 15 or 10 to $15,000 we don't have to pay. So I'm glad that worked out. Besides that, a few months ago, we bought a cargo van that we're going to use for our construction. Since I just have a Honda Accord, and it's not the most useful vehicle. You can't really haul anything, and we've been having issues with that cargo van. We bought it off an auction, but it turns out the catalytic converter was cut out, so we had to get that fixed. We just got it straight piped. But now it turns out the engine has low oil pressure, so we were kind of debating whether we should swap the engine, but then it's going to be pretty costly. So for now, we're just going to drive it as it is. So I've kind of been tinkering with the van. Earlier today, I moved all my tools and whatever supplies I have in my car into the van. I've been just doing generic or random stuff, trying to prepare for when we start building, because I know when you do actually start building, it gets pretty hectic. So now for the most interesting part of this video by far, because it's not going to be just me talking, I'm going to show you what our house is actually going to look like. Alexander Massett, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You left a comment on the last video. The name of your channel is Modern Longhouse. I'm very interested to see if the name is fitting for your house design. It's not, as you'll see here, and as you can see here, it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look anything like a Longhouse. But we named our channel what we named it for a different reason. Hopefully someday in the future I can tell you what that is, but at this point I don't want to, just for our own privacy's sake. This is what our house is going to look like. This is of course just a render of our house based on the floor plan. This is the front of the house. You can see where the garage area is, and that garage slab is going to be on top of our property. So you can see kind of in this clip here where the garage is going to be. You're going to drive in pretty much straight at the very end of our property, at the top of it. and then there's going to be the basement and just the main level living. So this next slide here, this is what the back of our house is going to look like. Not exactly. This is of course just a render, so it's not super accurate, especially the colors and whatever the finish. And maybe even the window placements, we might change that once we start framing. But this is what we came up with, and this is what we submitted to the building department, more importantly. Here is our floor plan. This is the main living area. We're gonna have a main floor and then a basement, which we're not gonna finish right away. There's a whole story I can tell about that and the problems we had with that approach. You're not actually supposed to have a daylight basement unfinished. They don't like you doing that, they being the building department. I'll tell that story some other day, but this is what our floor plan looks like on the main floor. So this is when you're going to walk in through the double doors here, through those doors, and you're going to walk in right here. This is what it's going to look like. You can pause the video and take a look, maybe roast it. Leave a comment, tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you would change, which we can't really change anything because we already submitted it. And this is the side profile, what you'd see off of the road of our house. Of course, all of these blocks will be below grade once all the landscaping is done. And I think I have one more picture. This is kind of the roof design, and you can see the front slab a little bit more. That's all I have to show for hopefully for this week. Once we do break ground, I want to start recording more regularly. Like I said, the reason why I haven't been uploading that much is because we haven't really been working on anything interesting, and I don't really want to waste your time. But thank you for watching. I hope to answer a question from the comments of the previous video I upload, which I kind of did in this video, namely from Alexander Massett. So if you have a question that you want answered, or if you just want to tell me that I'm very handsome, you can also do that in the comments, and I read the comments even if I don't respond, and my wife reads them as well. But I will see you in the next video, hopefully very soon when we break ground. If we do get our building permit, if we do get our building permit here in the next week or so, I'll upload just a very short video saying that we got our permit, and then kind of give you an update of when we're going to break ground. But until then, I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay safe and God bless.